Welcome to another video. It is 8.2 degrees centigrade and 77% humidity where I am standing at this very minute. Now, it's Sunday, so I didn't manage to get outside yesterday. A few things happened and it's now Sunday, and that's absolutely fine. We are going to get that garlic and some of those onions, the onions that I did from sets that are currently in the greenhouse. We're going to get them outside. It was due to be the start of the second winter over the last couple of nights, and it hasn't been. It was due to get down to -2, I think, something like that, and it certainly hasn't in the greenhouse. I will show you because I promised I would, but it was just 3.2, I think it was yesterday, something like that, and I don't think it's got below that this morning, but we will have a look, which I'm very pleased about, because obviously I'm worried, well, not worried, but conscious of the seedlings that are in there, specifically the heat-loving ones. But I have every faith in that propagator because it has done me proud so far. And it's looking good at the moment. Have noticed things had got a little bit dry in there because I try not to water too much, because the condensation usually keeps the moisture in, if that makes sense. Even though it's on the propagator itself, it still keeps the moisture in the plants. But I've watered them this morning just before I came over here to talk to you guys. We will go and have a look, so we're going to go and grab the garlic and get busy with that as well. But it hasn't got down below freezing, which was anticipated. However, this week ahead is looking really cold on a night, so I need to get prepared for that in the house. But out here in the green, I'm not in the greenhouse, am I? Out here in the garden, or the greenhouse, or the shed, take your pick. There's a few things that I want to do just to make sure we are totally prepared for that, but I think we're good. So we're going to make sure we get the garlic in the ground. It's got all day to kind of settle in, and I'll probably put just a fleece over it. Even though garlic really needs the cold to split, I think -7 might be a bit of a shock, but it might not be, I don't know, because I've never done that before. So we've never gone from such extreme temperatures in literally a couple of days when it's looking like full spring. It's been crazy, hasn't it? So we're going to get busy because I've got a lot to catch up on. Stephen, as always, is busy on the outdoor kitchen space thing that still doesn't have a name. We have got worktops in there, so we have used scaffolding boards that we have purchased from somebody. We didn't want to just go and buy like a ready-made top and just put it in. This is all something that is going to be crafted from Stephen's hands, which I just think is amazing. And just in years to come, his stamp, in years to come, as in when we're not here, so many years from now, hopefully, his stamp will still be on this place. And that's, you know, mine will be on the garden, his will be on there. I just think that's fascinating. Anyway, let's get busy with the garlic. While we're walking to the greenhouse, I've asked the kids to come and help me today as well, because I have got a lot to do. I've asked one of them to do the polytunnel, which is scraping all of the straw that the chickens left from when they were in there into the back of the polytunnel, and I'm going to ask Stephen if he can spare me the time to use one of those scaffolding boards to section off the back of the polytunnel, and we will then fill that with a combination of muck that's left on the very last, I know I've been saying that for a while, of the rotted manure that we've got in that compost bin. I may have some more in a different place. That sounds all sort of as if I don't know, but I don't, because I need to check if it's muck or if it's just the ground where we had the muck originally put on top of. Sounds cryptic, and it's not meant to be. So that's the polytunnel that's going to get done today, and I'm going to make it so that, well, let's have a look. So this is how it was left. So all this straw is quite fresh, as you may be able to tell, and at the very back there, where the tripod is, there's nothing at the back, because that back door actually opens, but we never use it because the shed's on the other side of that. So I think we're going to have a U-shape bed set up in there, and all of that straw can just go in the back and just form part of the base of the bed. So that's one job, and the other job is the muck that I'm going to get Jack to bring me a barrow or two of muck, and he is also on molehill duty, much to his disgust. He hates doing that, but he's really good at it, and it helps me. Oh, somebody's left the tap dripping. Okay, so these are all the garlic that I'm going to work with, and there's some onions and stuff I'll show you, so we'll get to those. This is let me turn you around. So we're on 3.8. It got down to last night. The night before was 3.2. And I've just I've taken the plug out, so the plug just goes around here, and we've got the electrical sockets there, and we've just left them, I've just left the lids off so that these can just get a little bit of fresh air, and you can see I've watered them as well. The red orac is not showing at all. None of the other peppers are. I will put the lid back on just now. And look, the ground cherries have come up. Nothing else has in there but the ground cherries. Oh, hang on. Look, not on the left, the one in the middle of the screen. That's pepper, sweet banana pepper. Right, I'm going to put the lid back on. Maybe there's life in the old dog yet. Wrong one. Okay. I've just put both of the wires back in. The other wire, so there's two plugs there. The other wire is for the seed bed that's on the other side. Probably doesn't need to be on now during the day, but I'll just leave it on because, to be honest, I looked at the electricity, the smart meter, and it uses like less than a penny an hour, so I'm fine with that. And the propagator hopefully will get those peppers up and through. We'll keep an eye on those. The other thing I'm going to get in just while I'm talking to you is the shallots. So I'm going to go and get busy, or else I'll never get it done. I've got a dibber that I'm going to use to make the holes in the beds. Stephen made me that just out of an old broom handle or something or other like that, and it just saves you back and just gets the holes. Then you can just drop the onions in and the garlic in, and I will just cover them with a fleece, also just to stop anything that's, you know, flying around seeing them and thinking, oh, let's go and pull those out. Tracy's got nothing else better to do. Right, let's get to it. Oh. So these are the onions that we've put in, and you can see that they're actually coming up quite nicely. There is one or two gaps. I thought that was a gap, but it's actually there. So we'll see. I'll have a look along, and if I think there's a gap that needs filling. Okay, so you can see something's pulled these guys out here. There's one. Where are you from? Let's put you in there. Maybe a gap there. Actually, all of the rest are not looking too bad. So this bed here is just the rotted horse manure, and that's why it's a different colour, because this is not got any top manure on top of it yet. I tend to use the black as a guideline as to that's where they were when we originally planted. I mean, look how much this one has dropped, and you see here, and I do want to get them filled. But this bed will be okay for the onions and the garlic because they're fairly shallow rooted. They do get quite a substantial amount of root on them, but to be honest, this will be fine. They're not going to be too needy. And you can see in here, this needs a rake because all of these little weeds are starting to just show their heads. And to be honest, with everything that we've got around here, I'm never going to not have to hoe because things just get dropped in off the birds, or, you know, all of that good stuff. For those that are interested, this greenery down here, you can forage this. This is called Jack by the Hedge, and it's just something that you can use that's in the wild abundantly at this time of the year before it flowers. It is just a bit of a weed for me here, as you can see, but it grows prolifically as something that you can forage. So pick it and enjoy it in your salads and things. You might have seen in this bed as well that I'm stood next to Jack by the Hedge, goodness me. That has comfrey coming in it as well. Now, I thought that we'd taken all of that out, you know, from last year, but it is just literally, it takes over. So I'm going to take the comfrey out as it's coming and try and contain it. I have moved it to other parts of the veg plot, but it just gets so big. I'm not decided on what to do with that yet, but more coming up on a planning video as to what's going to be going where. These kale, we're having a little look around apparently. These kale are looking really well. Let's see how they look after the frosts as well. Right, see, I got distracted. Go and get your dibber, Tracy, and we'll get putting those in. there we go. We have got 65 garlic bulbs in there. Certainly the first 3 or 4 rows are a variety called Germador. I can't remember the other ones, but some were home saved, and that's absolutely fine. But if these are successful, I will just continue to use the cloves from these to replant last year. 65 is just obviously a little over 1 bulb a week for us, which may not be enough because I use a lot and I ferment a lot. I've still got the elephant garlic to go in. So we shall see, because I do need to go through our stores because we've got some left over from last year, because we did have a lot in last year. So just note to self, this is probably not enough for 2024 when I'm planting, or at the end of this year actually, in autumn of this year. But yeah, we'll see how many we've got left in stores, and hopefully some of those will still be usable, because I want to put them in the freezer. You can just chop them up and put them in some olive oil and freeze them, and then use them direct from the freezer. It's a good way of extending them if they're going a little bit soft. But I'm really pleased with that. The elephant garlic, I've got 5. I'm going to put them in the next row along, so just along here basically, and I will just put the 5 in the row. I won't try and plant anything else with them because they need a little bit more space, and then we'll fill up the rest of this bed with the onions to go with these guys at the end there. But I'm really pleased with how they're looking. I will get a fleece over them just in case anything's interested, and to give them a little bit of protection. Now, just a quick word on spacing. I tend to go with what feels right, but also this is suitable for a hoe to go down between them. So I literally just end up saying, you know, if I can get a foot in between to walk along, which is how I sow them or plant them, then that's sufficient for me. So that's how I've done the space in there. And you know, you can see about approximately how wide they are apart, but my lines are all over the place, so it'll still work. We'll still get food from this, which is what's important at the end of the day. Just had a brainwave, or an idea, or whatever you want to call it. In the kale that's missing plant, I have put in 1 elephant garlic, because I thought I'm going to have this. I might even put it in the greenhouse, because I've put 4 in, give them a lot of space. They're looking really good. They probably should have been potted on, the same for a lot of the garlic, but anyway, they weren't. So there's 4 in there which are looking fantastic, and I've put 1 in that pot, and we can do weekly updates on it, because that's the kind of thing that makes me excited. I'm getting the onions in from the greenhouse, and I'm a little bit worried because they are not looking very healthy underneath. On top, they look fine. Underneath, let me show you, see what you guys think. So I've taken these out. I mean, this one is clearly unhealthy. It is so squishy, and it's got the white like fungus mold on it. Is that white rot? This is squishy. Should they be squishy when they look so healthy on the top? The roots are good. Again, this one, excuse the nails by the way, this one's also squishy, so I'm not sure. So what I've done, I've put some in that were similar to this one, the best out of the bunch, and I'm going to get a load more seeds sown. These were from sets, and people do say sets are a little bit worse for bolting, but I wonder if it's a disease that they've brought in. Look at this guy though, he's been keeping me company, he's so long. Anyway, we'll see how we get on, but I cannot have no onions. Does that make sense? Risk having no onions. Doesn't sound right. Anyway, I'm going to get some more and keep going and get this bed finished, filled with, at least it'll be completely full, and get the fleece over. I think I'll have more left than the space that I've got, and I've definitely got more shallots. But yeah, a little bit worrying. But there's still plenty of time for me to get the onion seeds in, which would hopefully come true, and I can put them in a completely different bed just in case I've infected that compost. I don't know. Let me know what you think. So these guys, let's have a look actually. I'll take these out and see how they do. Some of these are drier and some are damp, even though these haven't been watered. I'm not sure what's going on there. But I'm going to take one out of here. These are the Japanese, and that's the same. It's still got that white kind of mouldy on. Let's take this guy out, which is totally dry, and that feels really squishy as well. And so does that one. Maybe that's just normal then. I don't know. I'm going to put them in. I've got the rest of these shallots here as well to get in. These are actually Bedfordshire Champion onions. They're coming through, but I'll get all of these in, and worst case scenario, we'll just have to get a new bed planted up with the I've got so many seeds coming through, still plenty of time. I've got all of the onions and most of the shallots in there now, and any that were left I'm actually just going to bin, but of the onions, not the shallots. I've come in to look at the red onions, which are looking really healthy. The root system on them, these are absolutely needed to have gone out a while ago. I'm going to get these out as well, but these are also squishy, and I'm thinking that must be because the roots are taking all of the moisture, and the green shoots are taking all of the moisture out of this, and this now then grows into a new bulb. Is that correct? The bulb forms from inside of there, and that's why it's so soft. But then even the ones, these big ones that are looking really healthy, that have nothing on them, are really soft. So maybe that is just normal. So we will see. I've never grown them this way before. I've always just put them underneath the ground in the autumn and just put them in. So I've not actually seen what happens to them under the ground. So maybe this is completely normal and I'm worrying over nothing. But having said that, I'm still going to get some more onion seeds in. Well, as you can see, this is not me gardening, this is me in the garden with Grace and the two goats, because all it's done for the last couple of days is snow and the weather has been terrible. So I haven't been out doing anything, just checking the seedlings, keeping the propagator on. It's been down to -5.5 and luckily the propagator's been absolutely fine, so I know that I can use it in there in future years, so that's really good. And just generally just keeping an eye on everything and making sure nothing's overheating, because the greenhouse is still getting up to 38-40 degrees when the sun's out, and making sure nothing's drying out, but keeping the greenhouse doors closed, even though it is getting warm, just making sure everything's safe and happy. So that's it for another week. I'm sorry it's not longer, but that's real life for you, and we will be back very soon with another video of what's happening in the garden.